Working Class on DeerCast. It is episode 97, as my paper tells me. Hopefully that's correct. And Eric and I are sitting here in our WCB studio. What up, man?
What's going on, brother?
And joining us via Witchcraft, aka the Dark Web, Dustin Dattilio.
Hey guys.
I consider you a famous outdoor artist.
That's very nice of you.
I feel like you're humble and you probably wouldn't say that, but I know you through seeing your art on the internet. And we've been trying to do a podcast with our crazy schedules and family and work and life and all that. And here we are. We're finally here, man. So thanks for joining us.
I really appreciate you guys having me. This is awesome.
Dude, tell us about you, because obviously you're a hunter, and especially from the good deer behind you there. But how did you get into art and doing wildlife art and all that? I want to know it all.
Well, I grew up in a hunting family and mainly waterfowl hunting. I wasn't patient enough to sit there and wait for a deer. And just kind of like moving around and whatnot, and duck hunting seemed to be the way that I could do that and hunt. So I did a lot of that. And then eventually after graduating high school, I went to college to be a physical therapist. And turns out I kind of taught myself to draw in my dorm room. And within that 4-year period at college, I decided to switch my major and get a graphic design degree, and have been a full-time wildlife artist since college.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whoa.
Right out of college.
Yeah. See, I would have thought that it was something that like you just were good at from like elementary on, just like doodling. And then that's like where it would start. That surprises me that it was kind of later on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I doodled a lot and stuff, but it was not, I don't think I was like above average when it came to art skills or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So
looking back at some of my old stuff, you would agree for sure.
See, I'm always curious about that. So like when I talk to my tattoo artists and stuff, people who just seem just so, I know there's a lot of work put into it, but like art gifted in a way.
Right.
And I'm always like, is it something you can actually learn how to do? Or do you have to be born with like 60% of it and you just make up the rest with practice?
I think that that's accurate. You probably have some sort of natural ability, because like my parents cannot draw a stick figure, but my grandfather's like a super, super talented wood carver.
Oh,
Realistic wood carving. And then my grandmother's cousin, my grandma's actually really good at drawing, but her cousin is a full-time artist who does like photorealistic, surreal artwork, I guess.
no kidding. Okay, so
maybe it just skips a generation, because my mom can draw like crazy, and me and my sister cannot draw at all.
I something I've always wanted to get into, especially like as I got older and started like wanting wildlife paintings or art or whatever like that. It's like, and in school trying to draw deer and they just look like ass when you draw them. And then you see like some of the work that you put out and you're like, how is it even possible?
I don't know.
To do that. Like, it doesn't seem like I can't wrap my brain around it, and that's why I can't do it. So I
appreciate that.
Dude, it's beautiful work. Everything you do is amazing. So yeah, I just was always curious about that. That's like my opening question to an artist. Like, can you learn how to do it, or are you just born with it?
I really think that you can learn. I mean, people don't know how many. I've been doing art from, I think, my sophomore year of college. I took like the first art class there, and I just kind of saw what the other majors were doing. And I was like, I can do that. And then just kind of combine my love for hunting with the passion that I had gained for art, and just kind of ran with it. But I do it every single day.
Yeah.
It's so cool too that you switched your major. Like, you just kind of found out like, hey, I love drawing, so I'm going to switch my major, and then just went for it.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of, I have a lot of like supportive family members and stuff, but definitely some people were kind of thinking like, what are you doing? Kind of physical therapist to an artist is kind of night and day difference, but
100%.
Well,
hey, worked out.
I don't want to offend anybody with this, but when someone's like, oh yeah, I'm an artist, you're always like, you're kind of like, oh yeah, you are.
Yeah. So am I.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But then if someone's like, yeah, I did this, and shows like some of your work, it's like, oh yeah, you are an artist. Like, and I'm not so, I guess that's subjective, right?
No,
So
I'll tell you, I go to trade shows and stuff, and when people see what I do in person, I kind of get that like, oh, you are an artist. But when I meet people that have never seen my work and they ask what I do for a living, I don't tell them I'm an artist.
what do you tell them?
I tell them I'm a graphic designer.
Interesting.
Yeah,
To
because
avoid that eye roll.
yep, exactly. Especially like if I'm with my wife or something like that, it's nothing like she has no problem. She's absolutely amazing. But I almost feel like embarrassed for her that to hear somebody say like, "Oh, your husband's an artist," and then
I get it.
Yep.
they're like,
Dude,
"Yeah, my niece likes to paint too."
Yeah. Oh yeah, finger painting's cool. I bet
Right.
she's really good.
Really good with the watercolors.
Oh, dude, think about how lame my job title sounds.
Yeah, but yours is very similar to like a radio host. Like that's a legit
Yeah,
job.
man. But
Actually,
we're not allowed at like a work dinner.
Especially now that podcasts are so like popular. You
Yeah.
tell people, oh, what do you do for a living? I podcast. Like,
I
Okay.
say digital marketing or
Yeah.
outdoor marketing.
yeah,
It just it avoids a lot of like vague questions.
oh yeah.
yep. I
That's
kind of
funny though.
same thing. Yep. Just I tell them I'm a graphic designer, and if they want to kind of see a website or something, then I'll show them my paintings and whatnot. But other than that, I just kind of leave it at graphic designer.
That's hilarious.
Perfect.
What was the first piece of art you sold? Or I guess how long from when you started in school, sophomore in college, your first like, what would say like your style art that you like, or I don't know, maybe that's a whole nother line of questions. Like, how long did it take you to fall into your style, or was it always there? And then from there, what was your first piece of art that you sold?
So I went to Castleton University. It's just a state school, and on my floor was like a bunch of, I don't know, everyone loved hip hop and rap and that type of stuff. So I actually started like teaching myself to draw like 50 Cent or
Yeah.
like Kendrick Lamar, just like some big name hip hop guys.
Yeah.
And I sold a couple of those like almost immediately. But you're talking like $50 for something that took me 5 hours probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
For a college kid, though, not bad.
No,
it's a good little side hustle.
Oh yeah.
See, I never would have expected that answer to that question. I would have been like, oh yeah, he drew like a
deer,
like
or a duck.
Yeah, a duck, or a dog with something. That's interesting. That's a curveball.
Yep.
Knowing your market.
Well, I'm like such a diehard hunter and outdoorsman, and have been my whole life, that like people started to commission me to do pet portraits and like a border collie or I don't know, pugs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can only do so many of those before you kind of get burnt out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm someone that gets burnt out of stuff pretty quick. So I started out pencil drawing, then went to charcoal, and then took up a paintbrush in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Started painting, and then I've done wood burning. I engraved headstones for people for quite a while. The tumblers, I do tumblers and coolers, like hand paint on those. Those have been a big hit. And I'm going to be purchasing a tattoo gun here shortly.
Oh, that was in my line of questions.
Yeah.
You want you want to practice on somebody? Give me a holler.
Yeah, I get that offer a lot, but
we'll fly out. Just do it
you
right
can't
here.
erase ink.
I'm too far gone, man. It's okay. I would trust you, man. I mean, with that resume of just like different art skill sets, it's just a matter of time before you're incredible at it. And I don't know, like, I love art. I love the wildlife art and everything, but I don't know what there'd be more money in. And I know that's not why you do it, but you want to make some money. But I know tattoo artists make pretty good money.
Pretty good money, yeah.
Because I pay them.
Definitely don't become a wildlife artist to make money. That's
yeah. You see, that surprises me a little bit though, because everyone I know, like our good friend Bucky, like collects wildlife art, and you go into his house and he's spent, probably thousands of dollars on wildlife art. But maybe is it so niche, or how does it feel to you?
I mean, I think like people like Ryan Kirby. Obviously, everyone knows Ryan Kirby.
Mhm.
hopefully.
Yeah, we have a piece of his art in here. Someone gifted it to us actually, like the diagram of the deer, like
Yep.
of deer age. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the only artist that I have hanging in my house right now. And it's just one painting of a buck chasing a doe.
Mhm.
And I think that he's like really opened the door and brought like more of an interest into wildlife art because of the deer, turkey paintings and his name.
Mhm.
Right.
But then that also, just like people say, like there can't be X amount of podcasts because it takes away from everybody else. I don't agree with that. I think that there's room for everybody, and the more
Yeah.
interest in wildlife art, people can branch out and find the type that they like because
Mhm.
we do way different styles.
Yeah, I feel like for sure. Yeah, I can see that. Like, I feel. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the wildlife artist who did. I always bring up the grade 8 painting. So, but it was a buck. Yeah, Michael Sieve.
Hmm.
But anyway, he's like I think Wisconsin or Michigan based artist, and he always had like his thing. Like there in a lot of his paintings, there's like a hunter hidden in a tree, or
Yep.
like there's those little things to like look for in his art. But yeah, like I've never been like, oh, there's too many wildlife art. From my perspective, I think it's cool to go into someone's man cave or hunting lodge, or
Right.
like in our case, our studio, and look at wildlife art. I feel like it's big in hunting culture.
It's huge.
That's
I
like
mean, growing up, my dad collected Terry Redlands. I mean, he's got probably a dozen of them, hanging in his basement.
Yeah. See, that's awesome. So to me, it's like a super important part of hunting culture.
I agree. Yep. It tells a story and gets passed down generation to generation. And yeah, I mean, I have some Melissa Ball feather painting. She does like realistic paintings on turkey feathers.
Mm-hmm.
She's been a really good mentor to me, and her artwork is also like really underrated. She doesn't get enough attention for what she does.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a million people out there that are like would blow me out of the water. They just don't have, I don't know, I guess the machine behind them. They're not like in the industry. They're not.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
or maybe they don't want to do it full time.
Right,
yeah,
they just
I can
kinda
see
do it
that.
for fun.
Does it feel like work? Like, do
Yeah.
you feel like you're like, I got to do this a little bit,
Yeah, especially like there's definitely projects that I get hired to do that I'm like really looking forward to, but those are normally like a deer, turkey, anything hunting. But if someone's like, "Will you paint my black lab?" and it's not like a duck hunting scene, I don't really.
You're being
I'm
so
not.
nice about it.
Yeah, I still do it, but or like people portraits or something I'm trying to move away from because
Mhm.
they take so long to like get a likeness to somebody.
Right.
But occasionally I'll take one. Like I did one for Dale Earnhardt's family.
No kidding.
Yeah. So like that was obviously something I was pretty pumped to do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're just saying you're not as excited to do some of them as the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say it the nice way.
I get that. Yeah, you're like super nice about it. Well, so if someone gets a hold of you and they're like, "Hey, man, I want to buy art," like, how do they get a hold of you to just buy like art you've already done, or what other type of work? If someone's like, "Hey, I shot this buck, can you paint a portrait of this buck?" You kind of want to break that down and explain it a little bit.
Yeah. So normally people will reach out on social media or I have a website. They can fill out, there's a sheet you fill out and it goes to my email. And you can commission a painting, which means it's like a custom original painting based on whether it's your buck or a scene that you want done, something like that. Or I have a bunch of prints, which are copies of paintings I've done. And you can purchase those through social media or my website.
Very cool.
That's cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So like custom like deer work. If someone's like, "Hey, I want a buck my dad shot and a buck I shot together in the same like scene," is that like, I know it's hard to do, obviously, because it takes your like experience and skill and talent and all that. But like, is that as enjoyable as if you painted something on your own? Or like, does that make sense what I'm trying to ask? Because in
Yeah,
my eyes, I'm like, oh man, I got to paint another deer for this guy. But
no, I don't think I'd ever get burnt out of painting like those type of scenes.
gotcha.
It's the things that I'm a little bit like disconnected from, like somebody else's cat.
Yeah.
Never met this cat before.
Yeah. I'm not really a cat fan. So
Right.
stuff like that, I mean, I'll do them because it's money, and who knows if this will ever just come to a screeching halt. I don't know. So
I doubt it, bro. You're pretty damn talented.
thank you.
What
But-
if we wanted a portrait painted of our podcast crew like Death Row Records back in the day where they're all in black and they got the big pinky rings on and the chains? What if we wanted that? Is that something you do?
I'd probably forward you to a different artist.
Channel the old hip hop artist from college.
Yeah, I know. I should do that.
I politely deny your request.
I will not do that.
Yeah,
Okay, just asking. That was a test. You passed.
perfect.
It doesn't hurt to ask,
I do kind of want that because you
Yeah, I
remember
love the
watching
idea.
Robin Big back in the day?
Oh yeah.
They did that. They went and they got photos taken of it, and they had their dog Meaty, and they put like a chain on them and stuff. I just think
I
it'd
love that
always be
show.
so funny to have that here and watch people when they come in and not expect it to be like,
What's up with that?
why do they have that on the wall? You know?
Yeah, I thought these guys were hunters. What the heck?
Yeah, it's like, what is Death Row Records anyway? You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I don't know. We're gonna buy some art from you, man, and hang it in the studio. I feel like it's something we need in here.
For sure.
And
Can never have too much.
well, we have a very eclectic collection just in the studio in general.
Yep.
And yeah, man, I've been following your Instagram for a long time, and we're gonna buy some art and hang it in here. So
I appreciate that. I definitely want to do the Geyer buck for you too. I know that we had kind of discussed that a little bit. So maybe
yeah,
some sort of custom piece, bringing that back to life would be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome.
that would be really cool, man. I'd have to think about that because I have the original shoulder mount in the house.
Yep.
And I want to hang my dad's bow up and then do like a painting with it. I think that'd be amazing. Yeah. I mean, we should talk about that more. But man, it's like I try to think about it a little bit. I'm like, oh man, it would be so cool. It'd be cool to just see people if they could look at the painting and put it together without
Right.
saying, which I think of course they would, but
Right.
it'd just be neat. That deer is so ridiculous
It is.
that
I actually had just seen it for the first time. I can't remember what episode it was, but you brought it up to show the guy to compare it to a different buck that he had on camera.
yeah.
Or shot. You said it looked very similar.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how far back it was or whatever, but
It might have been I remember the episode. I remember grabbing it and bringing it in here. Yeah.
because I'm never watching the screen when I listen. I'm always working, like literally every single day I listen to you guys.
I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate
So
that.
this is pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm never like watching the screen. I'm always painting and I have my back to the screen. And then you had pulled it up. So I whipped around to look at it. And that thing's a freak.
It's framey as heck. It would be a really good painting buck, I think.
Definitely. Yep.
Definitely. But yeah,
That's
I would
sweet.
love that, man. I think it'd be cool to see that come to life and hang it next to the original mount in the house, kind of a cool tribute. But yeah, that's cool. Is there many artists out there who do like custom paintings like that of deer? I know the whole digital taxidermy thing is like big, which
Mhm.
is cool, but not as cool as what you do, like not a fraction of cool. And maybe that you eye roll at that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I get it.
I'm not.
It's different.
He found a cool niche, that's for sure.
Right.
It's a cool niche, but it doesn't have the same weight.
It's
To it.
Photoshop.
It's
Right.
Photoshop. Yeah. It doesn't have that real, like, it's cool. It's cool to see. But if someone's like, I got a painting done, like our good buddy Todd in his office, his big buck, he had, I don't even know if I can't remember the name of the artist that he found. And I don't even think she's a hunter, but he just basically contracted her to paint this big giant painting of one of his bucks that was standing in his food plot. And it's powerful.
Is it?
When you walk in and see it in his office, you're like, that's a baller move.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Versus like just a print. You're like, that's cool.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
different weight. Both
Yeah.
cool. But damn,
different.
you got a painting of a deer you shot and it's in your face.
That is a baller move.
That's
And I'm
some,
not taking anything away from that digital taxidermy guy by any means. Like it does,
Yeah.
it takes skill and like an artistic eye and stuff to piece that all together.
Yeah.
a lot of people I had talked to were going to do that, and they were under the impression that it was a painting
Oh,
because it's digital artwork, I guess, or a digital painting. So
yeah. There's no shade thrown. I don't think
no.
even that guy. I know there's a couple people now who do the digital taxidermy. I know they wouldn't even like. There's no argument here, and I don't even think they would argue it. It's different, you know.
Different.
It's different, but man, it is a baller move to have like a badass painting of your own deer or any deer, you know, like
a custom painting in general.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. But yeah, so I don't feel like you're throwing shade at that at all.
Hopefully, it doesn't come across that way because that's not what I'm trying to do at all.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I don't think you are at all. I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think anybody would argue that. I wouldn't. I mean, I get it. It's clear, you know, but
next question.
Next question. Move on. Bounce on with it. So I'm stuck on that digital taxidermy thing, but no, man, it is just different. I don't think there's any argument, but moving on, what's something you want to move more into? What's something you'd like to do more of?
Definitely more, I guess, like deer and turkey paintings. That's really what I love to do. And I want to go to more trade shows and stuff. That's been so fun because I paint live at the show.
No kidding.
Sweet.
Is that stressful?
Yeah. So I have like super bad anxiety
Mm-hmm.
and especially social anxiety. I told you I was nervous for this, but at a trade show, like the first couple brush strokes are like shaking like crazy. Yeah.
This guy's an artist.
Yeah. Yep. So I always start on like the grass where it doesn't matter if I mess up.
Right.
It looks like you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Really
cool.
textured there.
Yeah, really. So when you go to a trade show, do you have like your art on display, and then is the painting set up where people like, is it, you know, people look, you know, your backs to them so they can see like what you're painting as you paint it?
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha.
So I have like a display wall typically behind me, or I guess it would be to my side. And then I have an easel with a painting that I'm working on right next to me. And I'll sit there and just paint, and people can browse all my prints and whatnot. And it seems to do really well. I go down to Nashville to the NWTF event.
Yeah.
And it's been so fun.
I bet. I heard that show's insane. We need to get you to the Iowa Deer Classic.
Yeah, you'd kill it.
I would love to do that.
You would, oh man, you'd get bombarded. I'm sure you get bombarded at NWTF, but you big heavy neck Midwest whitetail paintings, dude, you better have a cashier working for you while you're painting.
So don't do any of like the Vermont spike horns.
No Vermont, Maryland, Wybucks, PA. Who else can we make mad? Michigan,
all of New England.
Yeah, all of New England. Yeah, no England bucks, New England scrub bucks. Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, like at Iowa, I just feel like that's something I go nuts over, and I think everybody would go nuts over.
And you don't ever see it at the Iowa show.
Not that I can recall.
No.
And man, if somebody's there, I feel bad. But the only time I remember seeing art on display at a show was when we went to Harrisburg. There was a couple artists there, and that's been a couple years. But you don't see much like original work that's like the artist is there with their work.
That's what I mean. Sometimes you'll see, you know, this guy's selling someone else's work, but never an original artist there selling his own.
Yeah.
I think like Chansey used to do that. Yep. Maybe he still does. I'm not sure, but
I don't think he does the shows for his art. I think his feather painting schedule's backed up so far, but I haven't seen, since we've been doing the show circuit, I don't think I've seen Chansey set up at a show.
No.
He's normally
that's how he got started. I know that.
Yeah, he's normally there with like whitetail adrenaline. But dude, I'm telling you, if you get out to the Midwest and did like our show circuit that we normally like flow through,
yeah,
dude,
insane.
It would be nuts. You'd be busy, but man, I can't imagine you not just killing it.
That's awesome. I definitely want to explore more because I only do 2 trade shows, the NWTF and then one in Vermont.
Oh man, yeah.
You gotta get out this way.
Let's get together because we could. I can just give you a list of all the ones we do, and I know you would kill it.
Awesome. Definitely want to do that. I'm interested in that for sure.
I think it's a cool thing too, because like just people can watch. Would you ever do like custom work if you're at the show? Someone's like, "Hey, I got you before you started painting. I want this one painted." Like you do it live at the show for a customer.
So typically, what I'll do is I'll kind of have one like prepped, I guess, pretty far along so that you can tell what I'm painting.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I think people would just zoom right by if they saw a blank canvas and I'm sitting there sketching with a pencil and it doesn't look like anything. But so I'll get it to a point where you can tell what the scene is, and then people can stop by. And I mean, I'll spend a full day just doing hairs on a deer. Like,
Really?
yeah. So it's pretty well almost finished. Like people can sometimes I sell them right off the easel, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
That is sweet.
So I'll prep, 4 or 5 of them for a week-long thing, and just kind of work on them at my leisure and talk to people, sell stuff, talk hunting, anything.
That's awesome. How does the painting process start? Like, because you said you'll sketch on them first.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like full blown Bob Ross in the style, and you're just in there like
Freehanding it.
yeah,
Happy tree here.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, here's a rub tree here.
Yeah, here's a little 200-inch buck here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just add them in wherever.
right. Yeah. So, like, do you kind of like sketch out? Give me the rundown. Like, you start a new deer painting.
Yeah.
How the hell do you even go about it? How do you start? What's the first mark that you make?
So typically what I'll do is I'll contact a photographer, or I'll have my own reference photos, and I'll find like a position of a deer. So like a buck rubbing a tree, for example. Like, one sec.
I love that one.
That's awesome.
Like that one.
Yep.
You're probably familiar with like Charles Alzheimer.
I don't know. I probably
He
should.
does a lot of like New York. He was based out of New York, but he did a lot of like the moon phase stuff a while ago. He was pretty big name, at least around here. But he took that picture and then let me work from his picture to create the painting.
Oh,
So like it is rubbing a really small sapling and it's like a really big buck. So the number one comment I get on that painting is there's no way a big buck would ever rub a small sapling like that. So I'll just hold up the picture next to the painting and be like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
But
that's hilarious.
yeah, the way like that one started, I just look at the picture, take a pencil and start sketching it until I get it roughed in, the head and everything's proportional. And then I just start painting.
You start just painting over that, and you just give yourself reference lines to go off of, and then you just dive right into the paint.
Yeah, basically like the deer head's almost like a triangle shape, and then ovals for the ears. Just very basic shapes like that, and then kind of refine it a little bit more so it's more detailed. And then once I have it looking proportional and stuff, that's the biggest thing with wildlife art. If you have the head's too big or the body's too fat or something, it just looks odd, which I do all the time. Like we have a burn pile of canvases that's taller than me.
Really? I was going to ask you, is like out of 10 paintings, how many are you like, all right, imagine me trying to paint. I'm trying to sketch. I'm like, crumple, throw it in the, like how out of 10, how many times does that happen? To this day?
Quite a few.
Really?
Yeah, probably for every like 10 attempts that I'll do at a painting, I'll probably throw away like 3.
No kidding. Yeah. I mean, I'm not judging at all. I think that's great that you're honest about that. But I always just wondered that, because it seems unrealistic to me to just be like every time.
It's just pumping out. You hit it home run every time.
Yeah. Every time's world class. And maybe there's artists out there, but I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I do something where I'm like borderline happy with it, but something's just not right and I can't pick it out. So I'll toss that one out too.
Really?
My wife gets frustrated at that just because
she probably doesn't know what's wrong with them.
Exactly. Like you're your biggest critic, basically.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just like you guys, I'm sure you guys like listen to things that you say or do or whatever. And you're like,
every week, brother.
Yep.
yeah.
Every week. No, I find that really interesting, because so what gets a painting to the point of where you're like making prints of it? Like in your eyes, what's it have to make it to that level?
Typically, like if I finish a painting and I'm happy with it, I'll throw it up on social media. And then if there's like requests for prints and stuff, or somebody wants to buy the original, typically the original will sell within like minutes of posting it at this point, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I do prints. Like if something sells that fast and there's still more people wanting it, I'll make prints of it for sure.
Break that down, the original to prints, because I think there's people that might not get the difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the number one question I get all the time. What's the difference? So a print is just a copy. It's whether somebody photographs the painting and then prints from that photograph, or I have a scanner. So I scan it in quadrants. So I'll do like the upper left, then the right, and just piece it together in Photoshop to recreate the full size detailed image. And they look exactly, I get them printed on canvas. So they look just like the original.
Right.
And yeah, so, but you can sell those at like an endless amount or an endless quantity.
Right.
If you wanted to. Some people do like a limited edition one, like all the Whitetails Unlimited, NWTF, all those type of prints are all numbered and signed. So like once they sell 1,200 of them, there's no more made.
Very cool.
Well, that's cool.
And then the original. So if someone's like, yeah, I have the original, it's the one you painted.
Yep. It's the one I sat down, actually painted, and that's one of one. There's no second original of a painting.
Right.
So,
Maybe in the burn pile.
So
right.
yeah, there might be
a lot of those. There's a third and a fourth.
People are sneaking in trying to get that original.
Yeah, you're gonna have people digging through your garbage every week. So when,
how about it?
In ballpark terms, you know, I know everything's a different price. If someone wanted to buy an original versus a print, is it like 5 times more to have the original? Because there's a lot of weight to having the original in my eyes, right?
Oh,
it makes
100%.
it cool.
Yeah, definitely. I sell my prints typically for like $65 to $200, depending on if it's a paper print or a canvas print, because a canvas print is like stretched around the bars and you can just hang it up on a wall. A paper print, you have to get a frame and all that stuff for.
Right.
And then the originals sell anywhere from like 800 to 2,000.
That's
kind of like
awesome.
my average.
Kick ass. That is cool.
Yeah.
All right, what do you? I mean, all right, the original, of course, you prefer that. Do you like canvas or do you like a print with a frame? What from your artist eye when you walk in somewhere? What do you like to see?
Canvas.
Canvas.
Yep.
Is that more just because it's more realistic looking, or like
a canvas print just looks more like the original? There's not the glass over the front of it where you can tell. Like most people aren't going to frame the original behind glass.
Okay.
True.
You have it like an open wood frame around the borders, kind of like this. There's no glass on it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just mounted to a board, and when it's on the wall, it looks like the original painting. It has the canvas texture, all that stuff.
Love it. Yeah. I like both, but I'm not an artist, so like I like the glass frame. They're classy.
Oh, yeah, they're classy.
But there's something about having that canvas look. So we're expanding, right? We're remodeling our neighboring building. So I would say
it's an open canvas over there.
Look at you, Eric. Gee whiz.
See what I did there?
So we're gonna have a little more room for art. Like it's funny because our taxidermy is encroaching on our art space, but there's a lot of nooks and crannies on this side that deer heads can't be hung. So it's a perfect spot to put some artwork, you know?
You can always find room to hang a painting.
Always.
You can.
Always. And it classes it up, man. I like when people get to walk around and like, I don't know. It's cool to walk around people's houses, like see what they got and why they like that or who they bought that from and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like part of the fun of like man caves and hunting cabins and stuff like that.
For sure.
I agree. Yep.
So what's the next big project you're working on right now?
I can't really talk about one of them.
Okay.
But it's pretty.
Not up that bear.
It's pretty cool. I am doing a collaboration of a deer knife with one of my buddies who's a taxidermist. And when does this air?
A week from Tuesday. So 2 weeks.
Never mind. I was gonna show it to you guys, but it's a pretty cool buck knife with like an image on the blade, and it's got a deer antler handle. That's kind of a cool, unique collaboration that I'm doing. and I don't know. I don't really have too much.
Well, tell me about like the coolers and like the tumbler paintings, because I see you do that online and socials, but if someone's just listening, break that down a little bit. How's it work? How's it stay on there?
So it originally started, I went to my taxidermist to pick up deer head, and he had asked, have I ever painted on a Yeti tumbler? And I kind of was like, no, I'm not really interested in doing that. And thinking that I don't know what I was thinking, but it wasn't something I was really interested in. Went home, got a Yeti, painted on it, and put it online.
Sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, it was insane. So I basically sit there with a tumbler and start painting it, and then I put a clear coat epoxy over it so that it protects the artwork. Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, when I first started doing them, I put it on TikTok, and the day that I put one up, I woke up to 275,000 views on it the next day. And I had over 600 emails every single day for the next 2 weeks.
Jeez, man. So how long does it take you to paint one tumbler?
A couple hours, I can get one done.
That's cooking. That's fast. I mean, but man, once you times that by 600 every day.
Yeah, can't do it.
Can't do it. No.
Nope, can't do it.
Good problems to have, man. I like, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit for kind of like the niches you're excelling in. Like that's your style paired on very outdoorsy type things, like tumblers and coolers.
Yeah,
is like everybody needs more of them,
right?
Especially if you're a hunter or fisherman or whatever. And the coolers I always thought was interesting because I never even thought about doing like artwork on a cooler. Right. So I see you do like normally like the lid of a cooler, but how do you get that art to stay on there?
Same thing. I'll put a clear coat over it. I do a lot of layers so that it's as protected as it can be. But at the same time, it's also still an original painting on a cooler. So you can't beat around on it like you would a normal Yeti or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. That was like my next question. It's like, you get this cooler.
How do you sell copies of tumblers,
Yeah, hey, we're going to send you a Grizzly 400. Paint the lid. Have you seen those coolers? The big giant Grizzlies?
Oh, yeah.
You can fit a couple people in them.
Yeah.
See, that'd be the thing. Like, get a painting on a cooler, and I wouldn't want to do anything with it. I'd want to just like leave it sit so it didn't get messed up.
A lot of people just use them like in their man cave. They have like a corner when they got buddies over, so it's not getting banged around in the truck or anything like that.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll get like a picture if someone's got like a dead turkey on it or something like that. But for the most part, people are pretty careful with them.
They turn into classy coolers.
Yep.
You're
going out cooler. We're not going out.
Going in cooler.
Yeah, going in cooler.
Yep.
Well, dude, I love it. If people want to buy some of your art, where can they go again?
DustinDattilioArt.com is my website, or social media, Instagram, Facebook, same thing. So
cool, man. I'll link all that in the episode description. We're going to be buying some art from you to hang it in the studio.
100%.
And if anybody's wanting to get a custom piece of artwork done on one of their deer or a tribute of a deer, like what we're talking about, the Geyer buck.
Yep.
Hit them up. And if I'll link your Instagram on there. People need to get on there and check it out, man. You're world class, cool. Man. It's great to finally make this connection happen.
Thank you, guys. I was saying before we were live, this is kind of like the Tonight Show of deer hunting. So this is awesome. You guys are the best podcasts out there, and I listen to a lot of them.
Thank you, man. That means a ton.
It does.
It's funny, like talking to you. You're like, you alluded that you listened, and I'm always surprised when someone I think is really cool listens. Because I'm like admiring your work. Like, whoa, dude, all googly eyed. And you're like, yeah, listen. I'm like, wow, really?
Wow. So you were artists.
I like instantly become embarrassed.
Right.
It's kind of cool to like listen to some. I know that you're trying to wrap it up here, but
you're good.
Hey, we own the show. We can really do whatever we want. All
right, perfect. Some of the similarities, like you used to BMX, is one of the things that I remember hearing, and I was like super into skateboarding and snowboarding.
Really?
I don't know like how far you took it or if you just kind of rode around or whatnot, but
yeah,
I really think like that extreme sports mentality from biking, snowboarding, skateboarding, whatever it is, that mentality like really, really helps people in life or accomplishing goals, because it's just, you're beat down with failure. How many times you try a trick and
Yep.
break a bone and you still go back to do it again.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I raced pretty heavily around the country, and I always remember the pressure. Eventually you get over it a little bit, but you're always still scared. It's like, I remember going from not jumping much to then trying to jump everything on the track.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the pressure of like, you know, you go up in a different class. It's like, well, if you don't jump this, you're not gonna be able to keep up with the pack.
Right.
So yeah, I guess there's probably like a deep life lesson in there, like kind of forced you to commit.
Yep.
Or try
Yep.
something you're
100%.
uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, that's a good point. Never really thought of it that way.
I mean, it's definitely different than sports, because anybody can play a sport, but when you're something like that physical, where you're throwing your body around and stuff, and there's like real consequences to it, I think it just adds a different mentality to whatever you want to accomplish in life, I think.
Well, that too, and like just like hunting, those types of sports, like, you know, like if it's BMX or skateboarding or whatever, you know, whatever it is, it's an individual sport. Like your success and failure is on your shoulders.
Yeah.
The same way with the hunting, even though there is camaraderie, and there's camaraderie in BMX and all that stuff too, but it's not like so and so missed a shot on the buzzer and they cost you the game, or some, you know, or
Yep.
this person made a mistake and then that turned into this, which caused an L or whatever. It's just, to me, I always liked it better. If I'm going to lose, it needs to be on me. And I never liked ball sports really, because it's like, I don't
I
know.
don't think anyone did.
I mean,
in our
played
crew.
soccer. I admit that. I like soccer a lot.
oh, really? See, I like watching hockey.
Yeah.
I think it's only because people punch each other from time
People,
to time.
you might see a fight.
You might see a fight.
You like UFC too, don't you?
Yeah. I'm really into that.
Yep. So that's also like our household. I have a 4-year-old, and he pretends to be like Justin Gaethje all the time. Or yeah, we were just boxing actually before I came on here. So
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
You know who really loves fighting that I nerd out with? I just talked to him the other day. Is T-Bone. Loves the UFC.
really,
Loves it. Yeah. Every time like we're all together podcasting with those guys, T-Bone and I are always having a side conversation about like an upcoming fight.
that's awesome.
T-Bone's kind of into everything, like golfing.
Yeah, he's into a lot.
He's into a lot of stuff.
But he knows a lot about fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked to him, like, oh man, you're exceeding my knowledge here. Like I don't know. Like he knows the fighters and like what they do.
Because
And
he'd always nerd out with Steve over golfing.
that's right. Yeah.
How do you know that much about that sport
I don't know.
or any sport?
He's sharp, dude. He I don't know. Bones
That's
and man.
awesome.
Yeah, when you get
Yeah, we were kind of not arguing. We were debating the last Sean O'Malley finish where Sean T-Bone said it was stopped a little early, which I'm like 3 punches early.
Yeah, I mean his head bounced off the canvas a couple times, and I'm not even like a Sean O'Malley fan.
I like him.
He definitely has like that persona and stuff that you want to follow.
Mhm.
But I really thought that Aljo was just gonna ragdoll him on the ground.
I thought
Like
he was
he
gonna lay on him.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be really, really boring, and then he caught him. And I think in a rematch you'll see a different result. But
I think so too. But so, is that something you ever thought about doing a painting of? Like
UFC fighters,
yeah, I think like up close, like bloody portrait style would be like really cool. And I bet you they'd sell.
there's actually like people that have that niche already covered.
Yeah.
So I don't know if mine would stand out or not, but there's people that like actually present paintings at almost every single UFC event. They go to the main event and present them with a painting of them versus their opponent.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like I don't know if Dana White flies him out or what, but if he wants to fly me out, I'm game.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, he listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he does, or it gets in Rogan's ear or something. Come on.
Yeah, let's get some poll going on. Well, there's a niche for guys who like hunting that also like fighting. So far, you got me and T-Bone.
That's good company to have. I won't complain with that.
Yeah, I'm sure T-Bone would love a painting. I'm not going to bring up what he said about Justin Gaethje. Remember the Slee Slack thing?
Yeah.
Because Justin Gaethje had like a deviated septum, And when
Yeah.
he talked, T-Bone said he sounded like a slee slack. It's funny. The last fight he had, he fixed his septum and he knocked Poirier out.
Right.
So T-Bone never laughing about that. It's like ironic that he said that, then gets it fixed, and just
Poor
like,
Dustin Poirier can't catch a break.
he can't, dude. Sorry,
He
we're
gets up
nervous.
to the highest moment and then falls every time.
I know it. Just like Cowboy Cerrone, man.
Yeah.
That dude never won a belt, which is crazy.
He was a badass though.
Look at us taking this Wildlife
nerding out.
Art DeerCast episode, and it's called Working Class on DeerCast on UFC.
That sounds good. That's a perfect podcast for me. I love it.
Dude, I'm in. You know what we ought to do? I think every year, right around the Iowa Deer Classic, which is like the first weekend of March, there's always a big pay-per-view that weekend. So if you book the Iowa show this year,
There we go.
we can all go out and get dinner, watch
Watch
a pay-per-view while we're out, and just double down on it.
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
It'd be cool. Most weekends we're out, there's a pay-per-view on.
Mhm.
So we'll have to line it
Sweet.
up, man. We'll see if it all works out. If not, you have to just come to the studio, because we'll do fight parties here on our big screen. And
Where are you guys located?
New Windsor, Illinois.
Illinois.
So we are west central Illinois, touch north from central.
Yep.
Oh.
Are you guys going down to like Kentucky or anything that opens up early for deer season?
Not this year. No.
Nope.
Eric, it's something Eric's been talking about doing for a while, because you still have access to a property.
Yep. I got some. My wife's family has some ground down there that they bought, 3 or 4 years ago. I just have not made it down there yet. Life happens and kids and everything else. So
Yeah, kids have been happening.
kids have been happening last couple of years. So
Yeah.
I will make it down there though. It's definitely I want to shoot a velvet buck real bad.
Yeah. I'm going down leaving Friday to go to Kentucky.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome, man. Well, good
So,
luck to you.
Hopefully
They'll
we
still
can
be
connect.
They'll still be in velvet.
The guy that I'm going down, he's a customer of mine, or that's how we met, I guess.
Mhm.
And we became friends, and he invited me down last year, and we were supposed to be down there for like 3 or 4 days. My buddy that I drove down with got poison oak all over his face and between his legs, and
Oh no.
so we got that trip cut short. That was bad.
Were they hardhorn then?
Yeah.
Not to overlook your buddy damn near dying from poison oak, but
No problem. They're hard-horned right now, a lot of them on his camera.
I just had my first hardhorn picture like 2 days ago, which that's early for us.
Yeah, I haven't had one yet.
It's just
Yeah,
started.
Yeah, we don't have any up in Vermont that I've seen. I have quite a few cameras out, but normally it's like the middle of September you'll start seeing that.
Would you rather have velvet or hardhorn?
I've never shot a velvet, so probably velvet, and they
Yeah.
look bigger.
They do look
They do.
bigger. They are cooler. Our buddy Devin hates velvet, and I never really understood. I guess I kind of get some of the points he makes, but velvet's cool.
Yeah, we don't get to. I mean, I wrote down some stats about Vermont. I didn't know if we were going to take it hunting or not in this podcast,
Oh,
but
we absolutely can.
Heck yeah, we can.
Let's hear some Vermont. I want to know what you wrote down now. Now we have to
for
know.
sure.
so there were 9,619 bucks shot in the state of Vermont last year
Okay.
that were reported, and 156 of them, only 156 of them scored 110 or higher.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So that's less than 2% of the deer shot scored 110 or higher.
That's a big stat.
Yeah.
Does that include like button bucks and everything? Do you guys have to report it like differently?
So there was like a little breakdown of doe fawn, and then like buck fawn, I guess, like
Mhm.
button bucks for those of people that did report it as a male. But I think
That's
most
insane.
people, yeah, because under an inch, it's technically antlerless. here.
Right.
Yeah. Under an
Um,
inch. I think Illinois is 3 inches, which is giving a little too much there, but that under 2%. Over
Over.
110.
Yeah, so
110.
9,600, just over 9,600 shot bucks. 156 of them scored 110 or higher. 5 of them were shot with a bow.
Whoa. Dude, the reason why I knew you're from Vermont, and the reason why I didn't want to bring up Vermont too much, well, not that I did not want to bring it up. But I just feel like we've been doing nothing but ragging on New England states and Michigan so bad that I was like, we'll give it a break. I won't get into it.
No,
And,
dude, talk about it.
You got me fired up.
Those numbers are insane, though. I would have never guessed that.
Is there a state that's worse than that? You know,
I also like the area that I hunt. I don't know how many hunters actually like respond to this questionnaire, but the Vermont Fish and Game put out a poll according to each county or wildlife management unit per 10 hours of sitting. How many deer do you see? It's 0.8 in mine. For 10 hours of sitting, you don't even see a full deer on the average.
You don't even see a full deer. I saw a tail.
Yeah. Just a glimpse. I saw 0.8 of a deer.
Yeah.
Wow. So not many people going out there to hunt, huh? Not many people taking destination trips to hunt out there.
No, turkey hunting's amazing. I think it is. But
I've always heard that's so good in New England area. Like the cartel guys are trying to get us to come out to
Tyler
out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, that's a bummer.
That is.
So are the deer behind you Vermont deer?
Yeah. Which way do I gotta move? So that one's my biggest buck. And that's, I think it was like 112 or something. It qualified for the record book just barely for that year.
You're in the top 2% of bow hunters in your state right now.
That was rifle.
So then you're the top, I don't know. We'd have to
129.
129.
People shot 110s or higher with a rifle.
You're up in there.
Yeah.
Can't
That's still
complain.
top 2%.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
Not good at math. yeah, that's impressive though.
If you shoot a 100-inch buck in Vermont, like that's a really respectable deer.
Yeah, it sounds like it now. Like especially when you lay those stats out, it's like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, usually when most people say that, I'm like, is it though? Like, or do you have to shoot like 112 inch?
Well, what we learned when talking to Aaron Blicey about Michigan, that was it 100 or 105 is a Michigan book buck.
Yeah. So 110 is a book buck here.
It's crazy that your guys' book bucks are higher than Michigan with those statistics.
Yeah. I mean, I have another one upstairs that's like 107 or something like that. It's an 8-point that I shot in Vermont too. Again, rifle. But I still hunt because of that 0.8 stat about like 10 hours of sitting and stuff. Like even with my bow, I still hunt.
Yeah.
I just kind of walk the ridges of the mountains and still hunt, and it tends to work out for me. But if that doesn't work, then I bring a rifle out during rifle season, do the same thing. And normally I shoot a decent buck. I try to shoot something about like that size or bigger.
Yeah.
But in Vermont, I mean, you might literally see one buck a year.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
That's it's so sad, but that's how I think of that area.
Yeah.
Like
just mountains and
I don't have
big giant timber.
I don't want to be offensive to it, but I have that mindset towards like all the eastern states like that. I just do.
Yeah.
But then maybe people will look at me for having that mindset of like, well, we all didn't get to be born in Illinois and Iowa.
Right.
You know, and I get it. Like we're very grateful and thankful and lucky, one, to be born in the US, and then two, to love deer hunting and be born in arguably the top 2 best whitetail states in the country.
Yep.
Sorry.
Hey, I actually have never, last year is the first time I've ever hunted out of state. Because I normally just hunt Vermont until I kill a buck. And then it was never even really a thought to like go elsewhere.
Dude, you're going to be moving out of that state if you keep hunting out of that state.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're going to realize like, man, I can be just a little
you
further away.
You could paint anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
you could. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And you can shoot like spike horns still. You can shoot those in like the strip of the Green Mountain National Forest land, which is like, that's that 0.8 per 10 hours of sitting. But like you can still shoot a spike, even though like the statistics I just read you, like that's why they don't get big around here.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, we had this big cultural talk about Michigan with David and Aaron.
Yep.
And then we had it kind of two ways. We did it on their show, and then they were on our show, and we kind of we talked a little bit about it with Okayest Hunter as well, also northern state guys. And it's like the cultural shift has to change, but then again, if it doesn't, it just still gives people a reason to complain.
Yeah.
And I somehow think that just like misery just loves company in that, where it's just easier to just be like, I live in Vermont. I can't kill big bucks like you because you live in the Midwest. I feel like there's something about that energy that wants to keep that energy.
I mean, the new muzzleloader state record was just shot, and it's like 165-inch buck.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's impressive.
They're out there. And then a couple of years back, the new state record was like 185 or something.
Oof.
Wow.
That guy probably I don't even know. He
freaking out.
No kidding.
Well,
yeah, I don't front of the newspaper for sure.
Yeah. Down at the diner.
Yep.
The biggest buck I've ever like even got on camera is probably like a 135-inch buck, but in velvet.
See, that's like a damn near 180 here then.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out, like, I started looking up stats about like Iowa and stuff before, but I couldn't calculate stuff quick enough before I got on with you guys to kind of compare what's a 100-inch buck to you guys.
Probably 120.
Yeah. That's about what I was figuring.
Yeah, one-ish, give or take without thinking about it too much. And then I imagine like, how big is that buck behind you?
Like 112 or so. Something like that.
Yeah, so it'd be like 150 probably here. Yeah. That buck looks bigger from
it does.
Our angle here.
It's got a really weird antler. It's like curved forward.
Mm-hmm.
I was rifle hunting and I watched a 3-point go by me, which there's my 0.8 buck right there.
Yeah.
So I watched a 3-point go by me, and then the 6-point followed it a couple minutes later. And I was like, oh, that's a decent buck. So I put my rifle up and put it on fire, had it in the scope, and I was about to squeeze. And I heard the snow crunch behind me. And both the deer took off running. And I was like, dang, that's a hunter. So I slowly turned like this. I shoot lefty, and it was over my left shoulder. So I was like, dang, that's a hunter. So I look like this, and that buck's standing 30 yards behind me. So I switched very slowly, switched to my right arm, and then he put his head down and took a step, and I swung over and shot. But
wow,
that was pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
That's awesome, man. Dude, but you can't, I get it, hindsight, but I'm calling this podcast Wildlife Art and 0.8 bucks.
There we go.
There you go. I'll get some people riled up.
Yeah. We'll have to do a whole nother episode where we get in depth on kind of like where you're at and hunting on that and kind of expand. What we could do is just get everyone from all the, see, here I am. I'm going sinister again. I can feel myself just coming to a dark cliff and about to jump off it. I was going to say small buck states, but that sounds offensive. It's not what I'm about here, but it'd be interesting to get like some stories and perspectives from you and someone from Michigan.
Smaller buck states.
Smaller buck states.
Smaller.
And then get somebody from like a southern state and get everyone on one episode.
I think that the very first like message I ever sent to you guys on Instagram was something along the lines of like, I love listening to you guys, listen to you all the time. It's super hard to relate to you guys when you're talking about 170s. So let's get some New England guys on.
That's fair. All right. I will give you that. We need to get more New England guys on. Yeah. If you guys bring like lobster rolls and scallops.
Yep. We'll be good.
We could meet in the middle.
Maple syrup too.
Maple syrup. And we'll bring you like sweet corn and maybe a shed antler or two.
And maybe a full buck instead of 0.8. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll give you a full one.
Perfect.
Awesome, dude. Well, this was fun, man. I appreciate you kind of like letting us grill you on art. It was kind of hard for us to interview on that because it's like hard to wrap our heads around it.
I get that.
We're just a bunch of wage brains, but I appreciate you kind of giving us some insight on how you operate. I really hope this episode helps you out, makes some art sales, and people look into you. And we're gonna get you to the Midwest and get some painting at some trade shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look forward to it. I really can't thank you guys enough for having me on.
Dude, anytime. I'd love to have you in person here soon. We'll have to cut that up and
let's talk deer next time.
Let's talk deer.
Yep,
yeah, we got the artist stuff out of the way. Now people know you here, and that's what they do if they want to get some art. But we'll get people riled up about Vermont.
Perfect. I can't wait to see the comments.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful.
I'm not going to read them.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Everyone watching and listening, I'm going to put all the links to get any art or contact him and bother him about custom cat drawings. That'll be all in the podcast description. So thank you for tuning in, watching, and listening. We'll catch you next week. Go shoot a giant. Peace.